Toronto is one of the most multicultural cities in the world, but unfortunately, it wasn't represented in the media. So part of me felt ashamed of being Asian. I wanted to have blonde hair and blue eyes, to feel accepted, to feel beautiful.
I'm not half. I live in the Philippines, but the minute I left the country, I saw the difference, how we were being embraced with our color. Versus in the Philippines, you really have to survive being white. You have to be white.
The unknown can be the greatest thing in the world. There's so many things we can imagine, so many things we can do. For me, I had to learn to embrace that. I had to learn to just let go of all of my old thoughts, also learn to work through my trauma, because trauma is something we're not taught to talk about.
Awareness is really the number one key about improving yourself. Like knowing what's your weakness, your strength, I think is really good. So I think it should be mandatory that people work on their trauma, because it's not just your trauma, it's your family's trauma.
So here's the tea. Our guest for today is a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, Sheena Yap Chan, originally from the Philippines and now based in North America, based in Canada. She's the author of The Tao of Self-Confidence, Asian Women Who Boss Up, and Bridging the Confidence Gap. We're diving into courage, culture, and confidence. And yes, the juicy stuff like dating and real-life stories.
And she's lived it, written it, and now we're spelling the tea on family, culture, dating, and everything in between.
Sheena, I have a question. Before all the books and speaking gigs, who were you? What was life before you became the author?
First off, thank you so much for having me as a guest today. I'm super excited to be here. This is actually my first in-person podcast interview, so super excited. So thank you for popping my cherry. Before that, I had a regular 9-to-5 job. And part of the reason why I do all the work that I do is, I moved to Toronto from the Philippines when I was 7. And, coming here, Toronto is one of the most multicultural cities in the world, but unfortunately, it wasn't represented in the media. So part of me felt ashamed of being Asian. I wanted to have blonde hair and blue eyes, to feel accepted, to feel beautiful. And that went up to my 20s, not feeling good enough, not being ashamed of being Asian. When I would go back to the Philippines, I would look down on everybody. I thought it was so cool because I was from Canada, right? And it wasn't until my 20s when I dyed my hair back from blonde to my original hair color where I finally embraced it. And also part of the reason was retouching your roots was expensive, right? It's like $80 for like every 2 to 3 months. I said, no, I'm going back to my original hair color and that's it. And for 12 years, I worked a 9-to-5 job. I actually loved what I did, but I knew it wasn't it. I would sit in my cubicle and I would think to myself, is this the life that I really want? Do I really want to work till I'm 60? And there's nothing wrong with having a job. If you love your job, that's great, right? But I always felt like there was something more. There was something out there. But of course, when you migrate from the Philippines to North America, we've been taught to go to school, get a job, get married, and then that's life. And so I thought, okay, well, that's not the path that I really wanted, but that's all I knew. And so I kept doing it until one day my aunt passed away from a horrific accident, and it made me realize that, life is so short. We could be gone at any given moment. And I didn't want to live life full of regrets. And that's really the start of doing my own thing, forging my own path. I had no clue what I was going to do, but I knew that I was going to do something different. So yeah, before then I had, what everyone would love, the full-time job, the fancy car. Well, actually it wasn't too fancy, but the car, the condo, everything. And I decided to let all that go and start my own path.
Wow. That's really courageous, and that really hits hard because I do feel the same way. Being someone who's half white, half Asian, you always don't know where you belong. And I just want to know, did moments like that really shape you, how you show up now in life, and what are the takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it was learning to unlearn a lot of things, especially in our culture. Being Chinese and Filipino, there's two Asian cultures that I had to live up to, right? One of the biggest ones is the skin tone, right? In the Philippines, you've been taught if you have white skin, you're considered beautiful. Same thing in Chinese culture. When I would come home from the beach, my grandma would be like, "Oh my goodness, you look so ugly. Why you look so dark?" And I'm like,
"Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry."
But that's how it is, right?
Yes.
And here, when we go away and have a tan, everyone's like, "Oh, you look really nice. You look really good." So it's so funny how the East and the West they view things differently, but. Yeah, like, whitening creams are very prevalent in the Philippines. You see them everywhere, big billboards on EDSA.
Glutathione, papaya soap.
Yeah, whitening creams, whitening lotions, everything, right? And for me, I think it's so important to be comfortable in our own skin. When you think about it, it's not just Asia that deals with it. It's a worldwide thing, right? Whitening products are a multi-billion-dollar industry that affects women's insecurities, that targets women's insecurities, unfortunately. So for me, it was learning to unlearn a lot of things that I knew, learning to stop people pleasing, to stop second guessing myself, learning to push through my fears, because that's how we build courage, right? A lot of people think being fearless is not having fears. That's far from the truth, right? Yeah. Being fearless is being scared and doing it anyway. And I have so many stories where I just had to basically jump off a cliff just to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. I love what she said there. That was really beautiful. Thank you for reminding me that always show up even though you're scared, fear will always be there.
Yeah. And I'm not half. I live in the Philippines, but the minute I left the country, I saw the difference, how we were being embraced with our colors, versus in the Philippines, you really have to survive being white. You have to be white. My mom is the same. Like when I come from, somewhere out, I love the outdoors, and whenever I come home, she's like, "Ang pangit mo, ang pangit mo, ba't ang itim mo?"
They say that to me in castings.
Yeah,
I like tanning.
Always like, right? Yun talaga yung, ang pangit mo. Parang, isa pa yung wala na magkakagusto sa'yo yan. Pangit mo. Tingnan mo ang itsura mo, yung kili-kili mo, ang itim, yung, parang everything is like, wow. So, you grow up thinking na it's bad to have this skin color, right? The skin tone.
Morena.
Being morena or, but then when you leave the country, it's olive skin. You look so pretty, you look so good. It's like you're so bright. Parang ako, oh wow. So it really translates differently, especially sa pagkatao mo. Your identity, it becomes so different once you see how, what they see outside of your country. And being a Filipino in Canada, how did your identify or family expectation clash with your confidence?
Yeah, I mean, my parents wanted, their definition of success wasn't my definition of success, right? They were happy with me working a full-time job, having a house and car and everything. And the moment I let that go, of course they were scared, right? Because all they knew was you go to school, get a job, and then you work till you're 60. And that's just one way of living life. There's so many other ways, especially when you migrate from the Philippines to North America. There's so many opportunities. And yes, we might have to work a little bit harder because, number one, we're women. Number two, we're women of color. So sometimes there's some setbacks. But in the end, we still have that opportunity to take that chance to do something different. And so, they never understood it, but they silently supported it. But they didn't like it, right? Sometimes they'd be like, why don't you just go get a job? And it wasn't what I really wanted. I wanted to make an impact, do something different, especially being Asian in North America. We're very invisible at times, right? And for me, visibility is so important, putting yourself out there, having better representation. And I realized that if I really wanted that, I had to start with myself. Even if I had no clue how to start that, even if I had no influence, I knew that I had to start it. And that's how most things start, right? We have a need and we have to fill it. And it has to start with ourselves because there's other women out there who are feeling the same way. And for me, it was scary. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that that purpose was needed from 10 years ago when I started.
And when that happened, when you changed your career path, like who was your first, you would say, who supported you in your family, and how did they react? I'm just curious. And what is it now that you think you're doing, and what is it difference from before?
Yeah, I mean, my family did support me, but they just didn't understand it, which is fine because no one has ever done that, right? Like I was the first one who decided I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to figure this out. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't really have a backup plan, but I'll go for it. So they never really shared anything until like years later. And then I think sometimes we had to sit down and talk it out and really like, you know, figure like just letting it out. Yeah, I think also the pandemic helped because we were all stuck at home and like things were bottled up and we just like let it all out. And being able to let that all out, it just felt a lot better. We were each other's support team. Now my family, when I'm having a bad day or I have something to share, you know, it's a lot easier now. And they have my back. They understand this isn't always an easy path. And it takes a lot of courage to do it, right? You know, I remember on my podcast when I was interviewing a woman, you know, she recently quit her job to start a business, right? And I told her, congrats, it's amazing that you're going out there to start your own business. And she told me to not celebrate it yet because she hasn't made her first dollar. She's like, let's do it when I'm successful. And I had to tell her, no, we celebrate it today because not everybody has the courage to leave their job and start a business because it's a lot of uncertainty, right? And we've been programmed to embrace stability, embrace predictability. We're not taught to embrace uncertainty, embrace the unknown. And so for me, I had to learn to embrace the unknown and realize, you know, the unknown can be the greatest thing in the world. There's so many things we can imagine, so many things we can do. For me, I had to learn to embrace that. I had to learn to just let go of all my old thoughts, also learn to work through my trauma because trauma is something we're not taught to talk about, right? Especially in Asian culture. And 100%. People don't realize we're not only carrying our own trauma, but our parents, our grandparents, they say it goes down 4 generations deep.
Our generational trauma. It's real.
I feel like it goes way deeper being Asian, being an Asian woman. And so for me, I had to learn to work through that. Like one of the traumas I had to deal with was in the Philippines, I failed kindergarten for coloring outside the lines of a photo. Yeah.
That's true.
That's a real thing.
Yeah,
like
a real thing.
I was given a photo and I had to try and color it within the lines. And I colored it outside the lines, and the teacher gave me a brand new photo to color. It was the same thing. And
you do it again.
Yeah, I colored outside the lines, and because of that, I failed kindergarten. I had to move to another school and redo kindergarten all over again, all because the teacher told me I had to color within the lines. And for the longest time, it really stunted my own growth because I felt like everything I touched, it was going to be an instant failure. And it wasn't until I went to a personal development seminar in Hawaii where I realized that why I was dealing with that was because of that time when I was in kindergarten and I failed for coloring outside the lines. And if I had the proper encouragement work on myself, I would have seen that as not failure, but I was just meant to do something outside the lines, outside the box, color outside the lines. So that was a big thing. A lot of us aren't even aware that we have trauma. And so it's important to be aware of it, find ways to work through it, heal through it, so we can really show up as our best self.
Yes, I really like that. Awareness is really the number one key about improving yourself. Like knowing what's your weakness, your strength, I think is really good. So it's really, I think it should be mandatory that people work on their trauma. Because it's not just your trauma, it's your family's trauma. And also you were saying like you were put in a box and you were told not to think outside the box. And I feel like a lot of people suffer from that, and it's really sad. Like you're just put in these rules. Like what box? There's no box. Like I don't know why people put us in this box, but there's no box. Like the sky is the limit. As long as you're alive, you can change your life. You can start over, and you can reach for your dreams. Right?
Because they try to condition you as how they were conditioned. But at this point, there's so many platforms now, right? That can be. That can help you get out of that box. So it's also self-acceptance. And then, you go with how you feel and what can help you. People who aligns well with your vision and how you feel about yourself. So it's like you really have to have that courage to get out of that zone.
Yeah, I feel
it's
like
scary.
it is scary.
It's
And also
very
it's the same in
scary.
the system that we're in, even in corporate world. It's
Yeah.
very like that. So I feel like a lot of people are having a hard time now getting jobs, getting work, because like people, the Gen Z are more aware now. So they're like, no, I cannot stand by this and you doing this to me. So there's like this
Now
big
there's no
disconnect,
limitation.
right?
Yeah.
So
That's the
now
thing.
I feel like the companies are starting to change the way they do things.
Yeah.
So
Which is
I'm
good.
hoping for that
Which is
change.
really good,
Yeah.
right? What was the courage for your podcast? That's where we met.
Yeah.
Sheena, that's where we met.
Yeah?
She did,
Yeah, so
she was
actually I
on her
reached out.
podcast.
I reached out to Chinny. Oh, I don't know, but maybe 7 or 8 years.
7, 8
long
years
time.
ago.
I reached out
yes.
to her. I
In
think
the Philippines?
No,
Yeah,
I just emailed her.
Yeah.
I emailed her asking if she wanted to be interviewed on my podcast, and I'm glad she said yes. And then we've always kept in touch
Yeah.
until
Oh, so you guys did virtual.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
I
virtual.
think that was it before the pandemic?
way before the pandemic. For
Oh,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
And then we met in person maybe 2 or 3 years ago when you
when I-
decided to come to Toronto. But
It's nice.
ever since, like, we've kept in touch.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that was like your first podcast interview.
Podcast
Wow.
So now we're popping each other's cherries.
Yes. We're celebrating.
Yeah,
Yes, we're
celebrating
us.
And
That's the tea.
yeah,
Yeah.
so my podcast I actually started in September 2015. So it's been 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe it's been 10 years, but part of the reason why I did that was because I was dealing with a lot of confidence issues and I was looking for resources that catered specifically for Asian women and I couldn't find it. And so part of me thought I was the only one dealing with this issue. But of course, in Asian culture, we're not taught to talk about the things that we go through, you know, the feelings that we go through.
Yeah, they
the
say they
negative,
pass it through.
especially the negative feelings, right? So we have a lot of repressed feelings, and that's how we have all these, you know, thoughts in our head: not feeling good enough, not feeling of value, seeking approval. And so I realized that if I really wanted to do something, like, it had to be me, because I also still wanted to create something that represented Asian women in a positive light, because for so long we're still seen as quiet, submissive, and obedient, and I really want to take that away. I want us to be seen as strong, as powerful, as trailblazers. And so I decided to start a podcast. And I didn't even know what a podcast was back then. You know, there was no Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
It was all on iTunes. And I was like, okay, I'll figure this out. You know, I joined like a mastermind. And funny story, because, you know, my title wasn't even supposed to be the Tao of Self-Confidence. I was trying to be clever and I was going to name it The Stripper and have a tagline of stripping your beliefs away. I know, yeah, it's not good. And so I hired someone to do the graphic, literally a silhouette of a stripper with a whip with the title The Stripper. And thank God the mastermind was there, because when I shared it, 9 out of 10 were like, yeah, I don't think you're gonna get the right audience, or the message won't be you know, relayed properly. And so I was like, oh my God, if I can't even get the title right, how am I gonna get the show right? So I really had to take a step back, get clear. And my friend, who's like a spiritual healer, she kind of helped me get really clear and just you know, think, you know, what's a good title. And so she told me that, you know, the title has a word that starts with a C. I was like, okay. And then I went back to check, you know, on the iTunes library to see other people's titles. And so a lot of them had the art of, right? I was like, okay, that's good, the art of, but I wanted something different. And so I used the word Tao because it means the way. And then, yeah, self-confidence came, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to have the Tao of self-confidence. And then I had a different graphic. It was a woman with a cape, you know, and when I sent that to the same group, 9 out of 10 was like, this is it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. And I still delayed it because, you know, especially growing up in Asian culture, we've been taught to be the perfect wife, daughter, sister, friend. And so for me, that perfection delayed my success so much because I wanted everything to be 110% perfect. And I was looking up to people who've been doing it for 5 years, and I'm just a newbie. So I'm comparing my chapter 1 to their chapter 20. So it wasn't until a mentor who said, just put it out there. If it sucks, at least you know, and you can move on. So I was like, okay, I'll put it out there. And I'm glad it's still going on until today, 10 years, which is wild. And through that, I've been able to write books and speak at different stages. Like last week, I got to visit the Google office in Los Angeles and speak for their women's group at Google. It was really awesome to do that because I never thought I would ever go that far, right? I just wanted to start something that can help women out there see their potential and just go for it. And the best things that I like is the messages that I get. Women starting new careers, women just having the courage to even just speak up or raise their hand up because it's something that's so hard for us at times still.
Yeah. And I've seen her, I've seen her growth. We've been following each other for the longest time, and it's just so nice to just be here talking to you right now and feeling your experiences just because you took that courage to get out of that comfort zone or that box that was told that we're just supposed to be this small, right?
And stay within the
You
the
believed
line.
in yourself, and that's the biggest stake here is you're the only one who can get out of your situation. You have to believe you can do it.
Totally. I think
And she did it.
Yeah. Belief is so important, right? I know we hear that all the time and it sounds cheesy, but it is really important. If you don't have that belief in
Mindset.
yourself, you're not going to go out there and
It's-
take action. And this is why as women, we have a huge confidence gap because there's a disconnect between how capable you are versus how capable you feel. And as women, we are so capable, more than capable, but how we perceive ourselves really stops us from moving forward.
Exactly.
I guess in terms of confidence, that was really amazing what you did. And I just want to note too, I feel like we're put too much pressure as women. They want us to run on feminine energy, but most of the time we run on masculine energy. And to be able to be the divine feminine, you really have to really focus on your feminine energy. But unfortunately, the masculine energy takes over a lot because people expect, or our families, even our husbands, our partner expects us to do all of this without their help.
Yeah.
And just doing financial stuff or low-key stuff.
Because they can see us doing it.
I know.
That's the thing. They can say, oh, easy. She can do everything.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to master just sitting on your feminine energy and give them that space too. So there's a balance.
Because I feel like that's how women will really regain their confidence if they run on their feminine energy.
Yeah, for sure. I think having a good balance, whatever that balance looks like, because everyone's balance looks different. For so long too, society has told us that, as women, we're the superwoman of everything.
Yeah.
And that's really toxic, and also it's exhausting because you're trying to be everything for everyone. It's just impossible, right? Men aren't told to be supermen. They learn to delegate. They learn to outsource stuff, right?
Providers.
Yeah.
They're providers.
And as women, it's important to be okay to ask and receive help, right? Culturally, we're not told to do that. We're told if you ask for help or receive help, it's a sign of weakness or a handout. But in order for us to break through the barriers that we still have today, we have to learn to work together.
Yes.
Because even men, even if they don't like each other, they'll find common ground to work together. That's the thing, right? Unfortunately, as women, if we don't like each other, we also bring each other down. And I've seen that time and time again. And I know this is probably not a subject that, most women like to hear, but I think it's so important to talk about it, because if we're bringing each other down, how are we going to move forward, right? One of the reasons why I wrote my latest book was because there was a report from the World Economic Forum that mentioned total gender parity would be achieved at the earliest in the year 2154.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, do the math. It's a long time.
That's a long time.
And that's when I wrote my latest book, which was last summer. And so
Did
today...
you bring it to you? Would you? Do you have it?
we have
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And so today it's actually delayed 4 more years. So
Why?
2158, right? I mean, with the current situations that we have, not just in North America, but all over the world, women are still second class to men. I mean, there's countries where women's basic human rights are taken away, right? You look at Afghanistan.
A lot.
The Taliban is ruled by the Taliban. So women there aren't allowed to go to school, aren't allowed to work a job, aren't allowed to show their faces in public. They're not even allowed to sing in their own homes. Can you imagine if our government told us we're not allowed to sing in our own homes? It sounds so ridiculous, but it's happening in 2025.
It's still there.
And what we see as just normal things is a luxury for them, right? And so that's that's why it's so important as women, we have to work together
Yes.
because there's other countries that are still suffering. And at the rate we're going, I mean, this could still get delayed, right? And so hopefully it doesn't. I mean, we don't want to have to wait at least 5 generations to see that change. We want before, for sure.
Yeah.
What's something success didn't fix anything in your life? Or
Success? I think sometimes a lot of us fear success, right? Sometimes we hold back because we're actually afraid of what happens when we succeed.
yes.
You know, things are gonna change really, really quickly, and then you don't even know if you can keep up. You don't even know if you're qualified to do it. I mean, I've been there. Sometimes I get scared taking that success level because it's like, oh, I don't even know if I can handle it. And I have to remind myself that yes, you can, right? You are put in this position because you're ready. And I know sometimes imposter syndrome kicks in. We think we're not qualified, we're not good enough, there's someone better out there. But we also have to learn that imposter syndrome is a sign that you are ready for the next level. And yes, it's supposed to feel uncomfortable because you've never done this before. And we're human. We're not robots. We're like, okay, let's do it. I'm ready. It's like, oh, this feels a little uncomfortable. I don't know if I'm qualified. Like, it's fine, right? And so I think it's important to utilize imposter syndrome as something positive. Yes. Like, you know, I read a story where even Bono, like, he still gets scared every time he goes on stage. But he utilizes that to give the best performance ever. Even when I go on stage, I get all kinds of anxiety, right? And I've spoken so many times, I still get it because I want to make sure that whatever I deliver, someone can gain something from it and utilize it in their own life. And I just want to make sure that I give the best speech ever. So that's one thing I think success a lot of us are that deal with, but really don't talk about.
Yeah, and it wouldn't like I guess your insecurity, your self-sabotaging method is something success cannot fix. It's something you need to work on.
Yeah.
Is the T on this one. And wow, that is on me.
Now there's realization over here,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
And you get
because
that
I'm
feeling.
the queen of self-sabotage.
Yeah, I think
We all are. We all are.
Really? I'm not
Yes.
special? Oh my god.
No,
I
it's
really
just-
thought I was the
We don't
queen
talk
of
about it.
self-sabotage.
Often, that's
we don't
why.
talk about it. That's why we're here at Spilling the Tea to
Yeah.
help
Well,
other
thank
women.
you for spilling the tea because that's a really hot tea.
But what does success look like to you?
I think for me, success is being able to live life on your terms. That's really it. It's not about having the fancy cars, the fancy houses. You know, it's being able to do things that you want to do. Like if you want to live in a hut on the beach, that's fine. That's your definition of success. I think part of the problem, you know, especially with social media, everyone's trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? Or having the influencer lifestyle, not realizing they're in so much debt trying to keep up with it that it's not sustainable, right? It's important to just show up, right? A lot of people like to see things that's authentic, right? You know, you look at reality shows, they do so well because everyone's a hot mess. And people can relate to being a hot mess because we're all like that, right? Life isn't always, you know, rainbows and butterflies. It's like a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, you're upside down, you're like side. It's never linear. And so for me, that's what success really is. Just learning to live life according to you that makes you happy.
Yeah.
And that could mean just being able to go to Costco on a Wednesday because who wants to go to Costco on the weekend? It's terrible.
Right. Oh my god. Tell me about it. I love Costco though.
I do too.
Like it's the best thing ever.
Do you ever get lonely? Do you ever get like questions like, am I doing it right?
Oh, I question
Self-doubt.
Yeah.
I question myself all the time,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes I'll sit there and be like, is this really the right path? Like, is what I'm doing making sense? Like, you know, I do that all the time. Should I quit? Should I do something else? Should I just go get a job like what everybody tells me? And I think that's normal, right? I mean, as humans, we're not perfect.
Yes.
You know, we're going to go through these thoughts. We're going to have good days, bad days. We're probably going to have more bad days than good sometimes. We're going to get rejected a lot. We're going to fail a lot more than we succeed. But that's part of the journey, right? It just makes things a lot better. So like, I want to share this story because, you know, I think it's really inspirational. Like, I'm a huge Hello Kitty fan. Like, I love Hello Kitty. Last week, I got to go to the Hello Kitty Cafe in San Francisco. And
Amazing.
one thing I realized was that I saw a post about the creator of Hello Kitty. And her idea of Hello Kitty was actually rejected by Sanrio 47 times.
What?
Wow.
47 times because they said it was too plain and too childish. But she didn't stop. They finally said, okay, let's make a coin purse. So they made a coin purse with Hello Kitty, and they didn't put a mouth, right? If you notice, Hello Kitty doesn't have a mouth. It sold out. And because of that, they started, okay, what else can we sell? What else can we do? And now Hello Kitty is an $80 billion global business. All because
That gave me goosebumps.
All because she never quit, right? Like she just kept going. Because I had a lady ask me a question at a speaking event that I was. She's like, "What if your idea gets rejected?" I'm like, "Your idea is going to get rejected, right?" And I showed her so many examples of people who were successful failures. Like it took 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times before they made it happen. And sometimes you have to do that, right? I think in order to be successful, you have to learn to be resilient and persistent, because without that, you're going to give up too easily, right? Most people succeed because they're just super resilient, like to the point that they know this is going to work. And they don't know how, but they will keep on going until they reach it.
Yeah.
Wow. I really love that. Thank you for saying that.
No worries.
It's that, right? You have that feeling and you won't stop. And if you just give up,
That
that's
nagging
where,
voice. So listen to that nagging voice inside you.
That's you.
Telling you,
talking
you
to
should do
yourself,
this, you
right?
should do this. So keep going for it. I mean, that's a really good lesson.
Yeah.
I really love that. And I didn't know that about Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's a nice story. And
Yeah.
is it because that's why you love red? Partially there's that.
Well, for me, red
simple.
it represents courage and confidence.
Yeah, that's true.
Also in Chinese culture, it represents good luck, happiness, abundance,
Money.
yeah, lucky red envelope.
Yes.
We wear red when we celebrate birthdays, and I think it also stems from my grandma. She wouldn't go out of the house until she had red lipstick on. When the lipstick is on, she meant business, whether it was having business meetings or just going to the palenque. Like she won't go out of the house without red lipstick. So I think it's also that too. That it's just a big representation. And being Asian, we're not taught to wear bold colors, right? And I think it's important to do that, to show up, to be seen, to feel visible. It's so funny because I'll have women come up to me and say, "Oh, I wore red today for you." And I think it's so awesome.
Yeah,
That's sweet.
beautiful.
It helps them build their own courage in the process.
Yeah, my little secret, I always wear red. I
know.
wear a anklet.
For evil eye.
Yeah, for protection. That red is for protection for me. Yeah, so has age shifted how you see courage and confidence?
For sure. I mean, for so long, we've been taught if a woman hits a certain age, we become expired, when that's far from the truth,
Exactly.
right? And I want women, especially who are 40 and over. I mean, I'm 43, so I didn't do like all the things that I've really wanted to do was really in my 40s, right? I wrote my first book with a major publisher at 40. I traveled to Europe the first time when I was 40. I started speaking when I was 40. So I want people to realize just because you haven't done it yet doesn't mean your life is over.
Or it's not going to happen.
You can start at any given moment. And, there's even a Japanese lady who started her modeling career in her late 60s and is thriving right now. So I want people to realize age is nothing but a number, and you can really start anytime you wish. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have challenges because that's normal. Everyone's going to have setbacks, trials, and tribulations, but it's still very possible, right? And if I can do it, anyone can do it. I'm not the smartest. I'm just willing to figure it out as I go.
Yeah. It's like KFC. I think he
Right,
only had
his story.
Yeah, his story is like when he was 60 and he was really trying so hard, but then he did it. Vera
He
Wang
actually
was
have a house
45.
here.
I think 40, 45.
Yeah,
Vera Wang,
45,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
when
it's
she
like
started.
age is really, it's a mindset. It's just because we were conditioned that when you hit a certain age, you're done.
Yeah.
But here's another example of that woman. No barriers. She did it.
I love it.
Right?
Well, thank you so much for coming out here with us.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me. It's been such a blast spilling the tea. I hope, to the audience listening, I hope you were able to get one nugget to help you in your own journey.
Yeah.
I did. I learned a lot. So thank
much.
you.
I'm so grateful you're here. So thank you so much. And Hope to see you somewhere. Hope to see you in the Philippines.
Yes, in the Philippines.
Yes, please. And we're going to have another talk.
Sounds
While
good.
you're there.
Yes. And would love to hear everyone else's stories too. Share the wins, the struggles, the truths no one talks about.
Define your courage. Define your confidence. Until next time on
What's the Tea?